You're floating on a surfboard, legs dangling, water so dark you can't see your own feet, and 40 feet below you, something the size of a car has been watching you for the last 6 minutes. It knows exactly where you are. It has known since before you paddled out. It can feel your heartbeat through the water, read the electricity coming off your muscles, taste the sunscreen on your skin from 100 meters away. It has already circled you twice. It has already decided. And then it leaves. That's the part nobody tells you, because here's a number that should genuinely rearrange your brain. Roughly 10 people a year are killed by sharks. Worldwide. All species. Meanwhile, sharks encounter humans in the water tens of millions of times a year and choose over and over and over again to do absolutely nothing about it. So, what is actually going on down there? Why does the ocean's most efficient killing machine, an animal with 300 serrated teeth, a bite force that can crack a sea turtle shell, and a hunting record refined across 400 million years, keep looking at us and swimming away? Are we lucky? Are we too fast? Or is it something so much stranger than that? The answer isn't what you've been told your whole life. And once you understand it, you're never going to look at that shadow in the water the same way again. Let's go all the way down. First, we have to talk about the movie. In 1975, a 27-year-old director made a film about a great white shark, and the shark didn't work. The mechanical prop kept breaking, sinking, failing in the salt water. So Spielberg did the only thing he could. He kept the shark off screen. He gave you 2 notes on a cello instead. And by accident, he built the most successful piece of animal propaganda in human history. Because a shark you see is an animal. A shark you don't see is everywhere. It's under your bed. It's in the deep end of the pool. It's in the part of your brain that goes quiet and cold when your foot brushes seaweed. Shark populations along the U.S. East Coast were hunted hard in the years that followed. Trophy fishing exploded. Peter Benchley, the man who wrote the novel, spent the rest of his life trying to undo what he'd done. He said near the end that he could never have written that book today, that what we now know about sharks makes the whole premise impossible. But the fear was already installed. And here's the thing about fear that gets installed early. It doesn't ask for evidence. So let's look at the evidence. The mistaken identity theory. For decades, the standard explanation went like this. Sharks don't want to eat you. They just think you're a seal. You're on a surfboard, arms paddling, silhouette dark against bright surface water. From below, you look like lunch. And in 2021, a team at Macquarie University in Australia actually tested it, which nobody had properly done. They built a model of what a juvenile white shark's visual system can actually resolve. Low acuity, essentially colorblind, working with contrast and motion rather than detail. Then they ran underwater footage of seals, of swimmers, of surfers on boards, and processed it all through that filter. The result, to a young white shark, a paddling human and a swimming seal are close to indistinguishable. Same shape, same motion signature, same shadow. Case closed, right? Mistaken identity. The shark made an honest error and we all move on. Except here's the problem, and it's a big one. When a white shark hunts a seal, it does not nibble. It does not sample. It comes up from below at 40 kilometers an hour, hits with enough force to launch a 1,000-kilogram animal clear out of the water, and it does not let go. That's the whole strategy. Ambush, catastrophic damage, wait. So if sharks genuinely mistook us for seals, the encounters wouldn't be survivable. They'd be over before you registered them. There would be no bites on the news. There would be disappearances. But that's not what happens. The overwhelming majority of people bitten by white sharks live. Most of them are bitten once. And then the shark, this apex predator with its prey helpless, bleeding in open water with zero ability to escape, swims away. The shark had you, and it let you go. Why? The disappointment problem. In the 1990s, a marine biologist named Peter Klimley ran an experiment off the Farallon Islands that sounds almost rude. He put out decoys, seal-shaped, human-shaped, and he put out carcasses, seal blubber, and sheep. The white sharks hit the seal blubber and ate it. They hit the sheep, took one bite, and rejected it. Not fled, not panicked, rejected it. spat it out, and lost interest like someone who ordered the wrong thing. Klimley's conclusion was that white sharks are not indiscriminate. They are running an energy budget, and they are running it tight. A white shark's target, an elephant seal, a sea lion, is roughly half body fat. Fat is fuel. A single good seal can carry a shark for weeks. And you're maybe 15% fat. You're bone, muscle, cartilage, neoprene, and a fiberglass board. Nutritionally, you're a health food. To an animal that needs to bank enormous calories to keep a body that size moving through cold water, biting a human is a bad investment. It costs more than it returns. Sit with that for a second, because it's genuinely humbling. The most feared animal on the planet isn't sparing you out of mercy. It's spitting you out because you're not worth chewing. But that raises a much better question. If we're not food, why bite at all? And this is where it gets fascinating, because the answer is that a shark has no hands. Think about what that actually means. You are an animal in a dark, three-dimensional world, and something unfamiliar drifts into your territory. You want to know what it is. You have no fingers. You have no way to pick it up, turn it over, prod it. Your entire toolkit for investigating the physical world is your mouth. Researchers call it exploratory biting, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It shows up everywhere. Shark's mouth boat propellers, shark's mouth buoys. Shark's mouth undersea cables and camera housings and the metal legs of research platforms. There are documented cases of white sharks biting the same steel cage repeatedly with obvious care and obvious lack of appetite. A shark bite, in most cases, is not an attack. It's a question. It's the worst possible question, asked by the worst possible mouth. But it's a question. And when you understand that, the statistics stop being a miracle and start being exactly what you'd expect. The shark isn't failing to kill you. It never started. Let's talk about how much it actually knows. We think of sharks as blunt instruments. They are the opposite of blunt. Along a shark's snout are hundreds of tiny jelly-filled pores, the ampullae of Lorenzini, and they detect electrical fields. Not metaphorically, literally. Every muscle contraction in your body generates a faint electrical signal, and a shark can pick up fields measured in billionths of a volt. Your heartbeat has a signature. Your kicking has a signature. A fish hiding motionless under sand still has a signature, which is why sharks find things that are, visually, not there. It also has a lateral line running the length of its body reading pressure changes, the wake of something that swam past 30 seconds ago. It has an olfactory system that isn't detecting a smell so much as reading a chemical map of the water column, tracking a plume back to its origin like following a thread. So when a great white approaches you, understand. It is not confused about your presence. It has known you were there for a long time. It knows your size, your position, your muscle activity, whether you're moving in a healthy pattern or a distressed one. It has assembled a startlingly detailed profile of you before you have any idea it exists. It has all of that information, and still, the overwhelming majority of the time, it makes the same call. Not this one. Now here's the part that reframes everything. Sharks are cowards. I mean that as the highest compliment I can pay an animal. Consider the situation from inside that body. You have no arms. You cannot bandage anything. There is no medicine, no rest, no recovery ward. If your jaw is damaged, you don't eat. If you don't eat, you die. If your eye is damaged, you hunt at half capacity forever. Many shark species must keep water moving over their gills to breathe. An injury that stops them from swimming is, over hours, a slow suffocation. You are a magnificent weapon with absolutely no repair system. So what does natural selection build on top of that? Not recklessness. Caution. Obsessive, granular, deeply conservative caution. White sharks approach unfamiliar objects slowly from below in wide arcs. They circle. They pass. They come back. They watch. Researchers who spend their lives in the water with them describe this constantly, and the word they keep reaching for isn't aggressive. It's shy. There is footage, quite a lot of it now, of large white sharks reacting to divers who turn and face them by veering off entirely. There are free divers who have swum alongside animals over 5 meters long, hand resting on the flank for minutes at a time. That is a wildly risky thing to do, and no responsible person should imitate it. But it happened, and it's on camera, and it keeps happening, and at some point you have to ask why the monster keeps declining its cue. Because the monster isn't a monster. The monster is a 400-million-year-old survivor that has learned in its cells that the thing you don't understand is the thing that can end you. And here's the beautiful, terrible irony hiding in that sentence. From the shark side of the water, we are the unknown thing. Let's talk about the encounter that stops everyone cold. In January 2019, off the coast of Oahu, a dead sperm whale was drifting in open water, a floating buffet, the kind of once-in-a-decade event that pulls in every large predator for miles. Divers went out to document it, which is an insane sentence when you consider what shows up to a whale carcass. And what showed up was one of the largest white sharks ever filmed. Something around 6 meters, wide as a car, scarred, pregnant, ancient, an animal researchers have tracked for decades. She fed, and then she did something that has nothing to do with feeding. She came to the divers, she swam directly up to the boat and to the people in the water, and she rubbed her flank along the hull. Slowly, deliberately. She let a diver rest a hand on her back while she moved past. She circled and came back and did it again. Free divers, unprotected, no cage. In open blue water beside a 6-meter white shark with a whale carcass in her stomach and every advantage in the physical universe. Nothing happened. Now, the responsible thing to say here, and I'm going to say it, is that this footage caused a serious argument in the marine science community, and the argument was a good one. Some researchers thought the shark was using the boat to scrape parasites off her skin, which sharks absolutely do, on rocks, on reefs, on anything solid. Some thought a shark that had just eaten several hundred kilograms of whale blubber is a shark with no interest in anything at all. Others were blunt about the risk of teaching people that this is safe behavior because it isn't, and someone will copy it. All of those objections are legitimate, but none of them explain away the central fact, which is this. For a sustained period of time, in open ocean, with no barrier and no escape route and no possible defense, the animal our entire culture describes as a mindless killing machine chose, minute after minute after minute, not to be one. You don't need to romanticize that. You just need to notice it. Let's be honest about the exceptions, because they matter. I'm not going to sell you a version of this where every shark is a misunderstood sweetheart. That would be exactly the same crime as Jaws, just pointed the other way. Bull sharks are different. They tolerate fresh water, which means they swim up rivers, into estuaries, into the murky brown water where visibility is nearly zero and where humans happen to swim. Add a bold temperament and an environment where nothing can be identified before it's touched, and you get a genuinely elevated risk profile. Tiger sharks are different too. They're famous among researchers as the ocean's generalists, animals that have been found with license plates and tires in their stomachs. An animal with that Catholic a diet is an animal with a much lower bar for, is this food? And individual sharks are different from each other. This is one of the more startling findings of the last 20 years. Sharks have personalities. Studies on lemon sharks in Bimini and Port Jackson sharks in Australia have found consistent, measurable individual differences in boldness and sociability. Some individuals reliably approach novelty, some reliably avoid it, and those traits hold steady across time and context. Some sharks even show stable social preferences. They have friends, which means the shark doesn't exist. There are millions of individuals, each running its own slightly different risk calculation, and a small number of them are bolder than the rest. That's not a monster in the water. That's a population with a bell curve, same as us. Now let's zoom all the way out, because the evolutionary story is the whole thing. Sharks are older than trees. That's not a figure of speech. Sharks predate Saturn's rings, predate the North Atlantic Ocean, predate flowering plants and mammals and grass. They were here before the dinosaurs arrived, and they were still here after the dinosaurs left. 5 mass extinctions have come through and swept the board clean, and every time the sharks were still swimming. Nothing survives that long by being a berserker. You survive that long by being right. Right about what's food, right about what's a threat, right about when to commit and when to walk away. Every ancestor of every shark alive today won that judgment call every single time, without exception, for 400 million years. And then, about 100 years ago, a new shape started appearing in the water. Loud, bony, splashing on the surface like something dying. Made of materials that don't exist anywhere in nature, trailing chemicals the ocean has never processed. The shark's entire inherited playbook has no entry for us. So it does the thing that kept its lineage alive through 5 apocalypses. It approaches carefully, it gathers data, and it does not commit. And here is the number I've been saving. Sharks kill roughly 10 people a year. Humans kill sharks at an estimated rate of around 100 million a year. Some estimates run higher. Run that arithmetic. That's over 11,000 sharks an hour. That's about 3 per second. 3. While you were reading this sentence. Finned alive for soup and dumped back to sink. Drowned as bycatch in nets set for something else. Killed in culls and beach programs to protect people from a risk that is, statistically, smaller than the risk of the drive to the beach. Over a third of shark and ray species are now assessed as threatened with extinction. Some populations of oceanic sharks have collapsed by more than 70% in 50 years. The lineage that walked through 5 mass extinctions is being taken apart in one human lifetime by an animal that only recently figured out how to swim. So when you ask why the most feared animal in the ocean refuses to kill us, understand that you've been asking the question upside down the entire time. The great white circling under your board isn't deciding whether to eat you. It's already decided, a long time ago, in the slow accumulated wisdom of 400 million years, that unknown things are dangerous and lean things aren't worth it, and the smart move is almost always to swim on. It's not sparing you. It's not being merciful. It's being careful. And that careful, ancient, conservative animal, the one that never developed a taste for us, that keeps letting us go, that has every physical tool required to hunt us and simply chooses not to, is being erased by the one species in the water that never learned to be careful about anything. Let's go back to that surfboard. You're floating, legs dangling. Something enormous is 40 feet below you and it can feel your heart beating. It comes up. It circles once, wide and slow, tilting to bring one dark eye level with the shape above it. It's looking at you the way you'd look at a word in a language you almost recognize. And then the tail turns, and the shadow lengthens, and it's gone. And you'll never know it was there. That happens somewhere in the world today. It happens tomorrow. It has been happening every single day of your life. Out past the break, in water you'll never swim in, with animals you'll never see. Millions of encounters, millions of decisions. And almost every single one of them ends with the ocean's most perfect predator taking one long look at us and choosing not to. We built a whole mythology out of the 10 times it went wrong. We have never once said thank you for the millions of times it didn't.